This is Tea and Talk, a self-development podcast. A podcast dedicated to empowering, uplifting, inspiring, and celebrating women. I'm Tafia Stokes, your host, as well as women's health advocate, blogger, vlogger, and author of Grow Through It. Everyone has a story, and not everyone's story will start or end the same, but you can't judge a book by its cover. Sometimes it may take a few pages, chapters, or even a series to get you to the climax. You will get there if you continue to walk in the path you were destined to walk and keep turning those pages. It's time for you to end that chapter of your life that is holding you back, causing stagnation, self-doubt, self-hate, and negative self-talk. All you have to do is turn the page, sis, and start to write a new chapter. They say a woman is like a cup of tea. You can't tell her strength until you put her in hot water. Well, the water is hot, sis, so let's see your strength. Grab your tea and get comfortable and join me as I get into it on this episode of Tea and Talk. The term ghosting has become so much more common in today's world than if you look back a couple years ago. I mean, it was a thing, but it wasn't as common as it is now. So for those who don't know what ghosting is when someone that you love, whether that be a friend or a family member, they cut off all contact with you. So no phone calls, no texts, no messenger, no emails, no visits. Or they avoid responding to your attempts to reach out to them. Ghosting leaves you confused without any explanation as to why the person has ghosted you. Those that ghost mainly do so as a defense mechanism. They want to avoid dismantling their emotional well-being. And what I mean by that is they want to protect their emotions from pain or rejection and anxiety. And instead of confronting and offering up conversation to the other person about what is going on or what they are feeling, they simply bail altogether. In one way, they are protecting themselves if, conflict or confrontation is something that they have a difficult time with, but in the same breath, they're hurting the other person. People may not understand their feelings, those that do ghost, and may have difficulty, putting their feelings into words. So that's why they ghost. At other times, they feel it may be easier than talking out the situation, despite the fact that they haven't even given the conversation a chance. Usually, if someone ghosts, more than likely it's happened to them either once or more, and they've become more desensitized to it. And so they accept it as a societal norm. They may not see any faults in the action, in which case they may not know any better or understand fully that their actions are hurting the other person. When you are on the side of being ghosted, it can bring up many emotions. You may feel as if your time and your care were taken advantage of. You may feel disrespected, that you weren't given the option or chance of talking out the issue. You may feel rejected, as if you are disposable and the time and effort and energy you gave wasn't enough to sustain the relationship. It definitely leaves you confused. You may begin to ruminate on what could have happened if you did anything to the other person, if you should be worried about the other person because of them not responding to you or reaching out to you, or what you could have done better in the relationship, what you could have done to avoid this happening at all. It makes you feel as if you have to put up walls and be on the defense due to fear of it happening again. It definitely takes a toll on you. And in order to avoid those feelings, you may be less trusting. You may find it hard to be engaged in new relationships because of this, which may definitely impact your self-esteem. Your self-esteem may take a huge hit because although being ghosted wasn't your fault, you may feel as if it was. When someone ghosts you, you need to understand that their action is not your responsibility to try to figure out and mend. As adults, we have the beauty of conversation and discussion. Like I stated before, though, many will try to avoid conflict in an effort to protect their feelings or emotions. And this is the same thing when it comes to ghosting. No matter what way you look at it, it is not your responsibility. That is an issue that lies within them. Their lack of communication to you, though, should be a red alert that tells you that they aren't mature enough to maintain and sustain a healthy, mature, adult relationship, or they just don't care at all. Either way, it's pretty fucked up. Some may think that they are doing you a favor by ghosting you versus talking out the situation. Their personality type could just be avoidant in nature. Does it make it right? Absolutely not. But that just may be who they are at this stage in their lives. That person may feel ashamed. Maybe the relationship or friendship is growing and you're getting along so well, and they could have been holding back pieces of themselves the entire time. But now, as time progresses on, they feel the need to be more open. But for whatever reason, they may be ashamed of opening up or being themselves. So, in order to avoid criticism from you or what they think will be criticism from you, they ghost. They could be dealing with mental health issues, including depression or anxiety. So, when things get tough in their mental health, they may be someone who falls back from many friends and family members as a way to cope. But how do you cope with being ghosted? My tips would be to call that person out on their shit. Let them know that you know what they are doing and let them know how you feel about it. Although it may not get you anywhere, it will at least help you get some closure. Either they're going to respond, they're going to stay a ghost, or they're going to offer up a little bit of information. And whatever action they choose will help you to then be able to better navigate what you want to do as far as that relationship goes. If you're not getting any emails, texts, phone calls, visits, no reaching out from them, let go of the ghost. Think of it this way. If the person ghosted you, then it already puts into perspective their feelings about it and how they value the relationship, right? So if the ghost begins to haunt you or try to reach back out, it's up to you to decide if you want to be in a relationship or friendship with someone who has difficulty handling conflict or lack mature communication skills. Avoid all contact. Don't go back to a burning building when you made it out alive once. There is no need for you to risk smoke inhalation twice. Take all of the love and energy you put into the relationship and invest them both back into yourself. Forgive that person for yourself, but don't forget the lesson that was learned. When you forget, you miss the point of the lesson, which makes it easier for this to potentially happen to you again. Understand that people come in your life for a reason, season, or a lifetime. So pay attention to your relationships. Everyone you meet is not a lifetime relationship. Learn from the situation. Don't ruminate on the ghosting, but learn from it. Again, forgive, but don't forget. Make sure that you set boundaries up front with any relationship. What are your expectations in the relationship? What are things that are deal breakers for you in the relationship? Make it clear what you want and expect upfront to avoid any muddy waters as the relationship grows. Always remember that you are worthy of love and respect, so you shouldn't settle for anything less than that. On the other hand, could you be the one that is doing the ghosting? If you are having trouble actually being able to confront and have a conversation with someone, then this is something you need to work on. As I stated before, ghosting is immature, and although it may make sense to you in the moment, are you thinking of the other person and how it may make them feel? Have you even tried to sit down to discuss what is bothering you with the other person, or did you just become more and more far gone and then you decided to cut ties? Don't do something to someone else that you wouldn't want done to you. That old saying, treat others how you want to be treated, is some true shit. Get your shit together, physically and mentally, and prepare yourself to have a discussion with the other party. Don't be so selfish as to close the relationship, friendship, without giving the other party the same closure. This may be difficult at first because it's uncomfortable to confront, but it's necessary. This is something that I've been working on over the last month or so. I would expect people to understand or know how I felt without ever telling them any of the information. I used to say in my head that if they didn't notice any difference in me, whether that was me being quiet or giving the cold shoulder or acting annoyed, then in my head, they really didn't care. However, it takes time to get to know someone to that level, and I had to stop expecting others to understand or guess my feelings. I've been more open up front lately, and I've been able to explain my feelings, why they were there, and what I expected. It has begun to clear some of the fog in the air, but even in doing this with some people, it causes them to then turn around and ghost me and go silent. Go figure, right? Again, not my fault. I was mature enough to say my piece, and those who have ghosted me, their silence speaks volumes. It initially hurt at first, but then I was able to overcome it because that is something within them, not me. They aren't mature enough to have this conversation with me. When it comes time that they change their mind and choose to talk, I have zero fucks to give at that point because they're letting so much time go between the initial communication or confrontation and then when they actually have the discussion. If you are someone that does the ghosting without any explanation, then this is the time when you need to delve deep into yourself. Why do you feel it's appropriate to just give the silent treatment? Has this happened to you in the past? Do you hate confrontation? Do you hate difficult conversations? Are you emotional when it comes to either confrontation or discussion that is difficult? And why is that? And what can you do to fix it? My advice would be this. Don't just drop off the face of the earth. If there is something bothering you in a relationship, maybe you start with a text if that is more comfortable for you. That's exactly what I did when I started, but progress is progress, right? So this can lead to you and the other party sitting down to have a discussion which may be uncomfortable for you, but again, necessary for each party in the relationship and for personal growth. Be the person you will want someone else to be for you.
Be sure to give me a rating and your feedback at the end of this episode. I would love to hear from you. Be sure to click the links in the description to learn more about how you can be part of the Tea Party VIP group and get more of Tea and Talk plus additional offers, including a free copy of Grow Through It. To follow me on IG, click the link in the description. I'm so excited to talk to you all next week, so keep tuning in, and until next time, love and good vibes.